Hello and welcome to this short video on methods of data presentation. The first question you may be asking yourself is why are there so many different ways to represent data? Well, there are many ways to represent data because each method provides a different perspective on the same information. This allows us to answer a range of questions. Presenting data visually has a number of benefits. Visually displayed data is easier to process and interpret than written information. Visual data helps us identify outliers, trends, and patterns in data. Visual data helps us identify correlations. It also aids in presenting data to a non-technical audience. When we think of visual data, we can't escape graphs. Graphs are visual representations of data that are used to communicate, analyze, and interpret information. They serve as powerful tools for summarizing data sets, identifying patterns and trends, comparing different variables or groups, and making data-driven decisions. By presenting data graphically, graphs help us make information more accessible, engaging, and actionable for both experts and non-experts alike. The first graph we're going to look at is a line graph. Line graphs are ideal for showing trends and patterns over time. They are commonly used in various fields such as economics, science, and finance to visualize changes in data over continuous time intervals. Usually, time is on the x-axis. The next type of graph is called a bar chart. Bar charts compare two or more categories across different groups or conditions. They make it easier to identify patterns, differences, and relationships between the groups. Horizontal bar charts are usually used when names are too long or there are lots of categories to compare. Vertical bar charts are used when categories are nominal or ordinal. Stacked bar charts compare two or more categories across different groups or conditions. They make it easier to identify patterns, differences, and relationships between the groups. Pie charts. Pie charts are useful for displaying the relative proportions or percentages of different categories within a dataset. They are effective in showing the composition of a whole. Histograms are best used to visualize the frequency distribution of continuous data. They are particularly useful for identifying patterns and distributions within datasets. Remember, histograms have no gaps between the bars. Bar charts do. Scatter plots are ideal for visualizing relationships or correlations between two variables. They are commonly used to identify patterns and trends in data points. They can show a positive, negative, or no correlation. A line of best fit can be used to show the overall trend. Box plots are useful for visually summarizing the distribution, spread, and variability of a dataset. They are effective in identifying outliers and comparing the distribution of data across different groups or categories. Pictographs are useful for presenting data in a visually appealing and easily understandable way, especially for younger audiences or when dealing with simple data sets. Tables are a fundamental way of organizing data to make it easier to read and interpret. They are useful for displaying exact values and making comparisons. Often, a table will be compiled before a chart or graph is drawn.